Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld News. It is, of course, the beginning of the end, or at least it was yesterday. The beginning of the end month of the year is what I mean. Thus, the Armageddon approach sounds much better, doesn't it? Right. It is actually our news for the week ending the 2nd of December 2018. And not long to go before we hit another one.
Ay,
And
ay.
then after that, we'll be on another one with an O in it. Yeah. And I'll be dead. Well,
Okay, a
good
bit of
chance.
a bit of a leap there, but okay.
It's getting on that way.
Right, right.
Anyway, no, seriously, folks, I will endeavour to stay with you as long as possible, including many years hence.
Excellent.
Right, okay, yes, that will be excellent. Will be most excellent. Right, so week ending 2nd of December. It's a bit about a quiet week in general sense. You can follow me at twitter.com slash malburns, Malburns, or one word at Twitter. And there's another feed which is twitter.com slash metaworld news, as in the name of this show, which is more to do with immersive world news, whereas my own feed is more general. Pardon me, I think I thought I was about to belch live on air then. I
Oh,
better be
oh.
careful. It's rapidly becoming one of those days. Right. So I'll start with the main stuff from the Malburns feed. There isn't actually a great deal this week, or at least most of what I've got here are actually headlines without graphics. Um, a gilded ancient Rome rendered in immersive virtuality from Virtuality Times. .com, I guess. As I say, you'll find links to these on my feed. This is basically an online rendering of ancient Rome in as a kind of immersive virtual space, and you can go up and look at that. Um, are VR and AR the future of live events? Editorial item there. This is one of those links that begins t.co. Obviously, I've been posting a whole load through Twitter, and they've been shortening the L's and killing the pictures. That's very nice of them. I better stop doing that this coming week. Right, Pose VR is a VR animation tool from Disney. It's well, it's what it says it is, really, and it's published by Disney Corporation to help you make VR animations. And let's see, I think I might have another click on this shortly somewhere else. Virtual desktop brackets mobile review. The best way to access your PC from Oculus Go. This is yeah, I have another link here. We even have a picture for it. Let me see if that picture loads. Then James can get the cameras onto the picture if that picture ever loads. Which I guess it has done. Here's the article, right? So James can show you this now. The important thing about this is it's related to the other one, the previous one. Virtual Desktop is a kind of application that works. I think it's already available on Vive and Oculus Regular and stuff, but this is on Gear VR and Oculus Go, the untethered headsets. And this basically, it's not a VR, a web browser. Basically, it installs a server on, say, your Windows machine or Mac, and you you download this app into your Oculus Go, which of course has its own apps inside it. And that then allows you to view your Windows desktop in your Oculus Go headset. So in my case, untethered Oculus Go, I can go over to the lounge and sit there, lying down if I want to, and put the helmet on, for example. I'm not overly comfortable with these things anyway. And then I've got the hand controller too, so I can lie there with flapping my hand controller in the air and attempt to navigate my Windows desktop. And it works. Yeah, believe it or not, it works. Although um, the unfortunately, of course, the controller that comes with the Oculus Go has limited things it can do, and it's actually designed for walking around and moving in VR, not for clicking on whatever. interface Windows has coughed up at any given moment. So be it a tile, an icon, a page, or whatever. But it actually works. In other words, the server does send the Windows machine desktop into your Oculus Go at the other end of the room, because or anywhere that's on Wi-Fi, and um, it's quite neat, really. I mean, I imagine. I mean, there is a YouTube app, for example, in Oculus Go anyway, but an example there would be if you've got you've got a loaded YouTube on your desktop and you're looking through your subscriptions or stuff, and you come across one that's 50 minutes long. Well, why not just start playing it and then go over and put the headset on and you actually see what's on your Windows screen? It's probably a lot easier than reopening another YouTube app and then finding the thing you were watching or whatever. At least in my case, it often is. I know they say they'll take off where you left and they've got handoff and all that, but for some reason it never quite works with me. Anyway, so actually that is a really good sign. I mean, especially because the specs for Oculus Go are not the greatest, but the fact that this can work on Oculus Go is a good sign. And of course, it's untethered, and it will certainly, obviously, work on the new Oculus. The next untethered one they're releasing next year. So let me click back and away from that. Um, Limina VR Weekender comes to London next month. I think I actually covered that last week. You can read about it at uploadvr.com. It's basically a VR arts kind of festival in London in a week or two. Right, moving ahead here. Now, a big news, I guess, for um, those of us involved in Open Simulator and immersive virtual worlds is the Open Simulator Community Conference, which will be happening this time next weekend. In fact, it's Saturday and Sunday, and in fact, this program and our companion program in World Review will not be on air next Sunday. If there's any emergency news, I'll either film something before or afterwards. But we ostensibly will be doing, as they say, that conference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and yeah, James and I have both been cameras, although in my case, I'm also got two panels and one moderated session to run. So, I'm just going to quickly go through before we go anywhere else. Actually, what's on the agenda here now? Um, Michael Bailey will be opening at 7 a.m. on the Saturday with a look at a sort of overview look at version zero point 0.9 of the Open Simulator software. That's the actual software that runs the system rather than your viewer. And that before at 7:30, I apparently am moderating this. Melanie Milland, who's one of the core developers of OpenSim, will be kind of in the spotlight. She's going to shine the spotlight on herself with a bit of help from me because I will be holding the spotlight and asking some questions. Or something. Who knows with Manny? Right. 8 a.m. Games and activities for language learning and Open Simulator. This is Michael Thomas and Nick Svart co-presenting. Followed at 8:30 by Guinevere, as in the Arthurian legend, or alternatively called "Let the Fun of Learning a Language Begin." And Heike Philp and Michael Thomas, Letizia Singanotto, and Tunka Khan. um, you know what Avatar's names are like, don't you? On that panel. Right, a short break at 9 a.m. And 9:30, studying spatial games in Open Simulator. This is a presentation with somebody called Kevin McCabe. Um, I will. By the way, I'm reading this out from oscc18.shed. That's sched.com. If you were actually, I'm on the highlight page, but if you were here, you'll be able to click on any of the entries and get far more details by clicking through to specific pages. Graham Mills at 10 a.m. asked the pertinent question: how can we show the passage of time in history builds? And I don't know, but I guess he's going to answer that, isn't he? Right. This should be a particularly good one. 10:30 a.m. Dream Grid Open Simulator. It's about a simple to use Windows compatible Open Simulator front end. And this is Fred Beckhausen, or Fred Fredericks, as he's sometimes known. Um, i- i- um, he actually, I actually run his system for my grid here, actually, Outworlds. But there are several different variations of what he's doing now. Basically, he provides a very easy way for you to get up and running your own grid, be it a major grid or maybe just a single region grid for yourself or whatever you want. 11 a.m. we have Blue Mars and the Red Queen, which sounds very, very exotic, but it's actually references to code names of some projects. Leo Lobo will be talking here. That's Cynthia Cologne. Andrew Stricker and Barbara Truman talking about that. And Emil Baker's 11:30. And uh, it then resumes at 11:45, so you better get your meal down rather quickly by the look of it. I noticed that. I thought there was an hour for a meal break. Okay, 11:45. Oh, sorry. What's actually happening is quarter past 11 through to 12:30. There's a VIP breakout session. So if you're a registered attendee of ERP, you will be able to get to meet the Open Simulator core developers, who are Robert Adams, Kevin Cousins, Krista Lopez, Manny Milan, and Hubert Umarov. Right, and that is followed at 12:30 by something rather odd looking. I can't quite figure this one out. Beyond the Viewer, Evolution of Engagement. God, how
Now,
pretentious,
yeah,
eh?
who could do something
Uh,
like that? Who could
Who,
even raise
who,
that
who, who,
topic?
who would come up with a title like that? Yeah, I don't know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, somebody called Mal Burns by the look of it. Accompanied by a namesake who is no relative called Will Burns, whose name is also Aeonic Eon. Adam Frisbee, open source founder, of course, but also a developer, um, boss guy, Sine Space. And Singer Girl Mode, who often known as just Singer Girl in World, she works on 3D web spaces, and she'll be talking about that and how that fits into the mix. Anyway, for 1:30, 1:30. Oh, and there will be another person on the Beyond the Viewer panel, but I cannot tell you who the other person is. But there might be the odd surprise popping up during the course of that morning. Right. Um, 1:30, high speed virtual world content generation and assembly method. Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it. This is a presentation by Ramesh Ramol, or Ramlol. Avatar names again. Right, 2 p.m. Highlights from the mainstreaming virtual world learning colloquium. Well, it wasn't on our channel here. It was on Avacon's channel. But yesterday there was a kind of mini conference called a colloquium or colloquial, well, something like that. Mainstreaming virtual worlds learning. And May of the crew of Avacon, who are the umbrella group who put on the SCC formally for us, shall I say. Joyce Betancourt, Leah Lobo, Valerie Hill, Krista Lopez, Kate McClellan, Eileen O'Connor, Andrew Stricker, Barbara Truman, and Rachel Umaron on the panel there. They were all individual speakers yesterday, and they'll be spending an hour on a panel, sort of bringing the highlights to the conference. Short break, 3:30 p.m. State of Immersion, Tales of the Front Line of Learning, Research and Engagement with Kavon Zenovka and Abacus Capellini. Click through for more details. And followed by Chris Colosi, who is, of course, from Globit, the currency service on OpenSim. 4:30 is talking about VR commerce, a primer on contributing to open source Globit money module. Followed at 5 p.m. Last of the day, really. Challenging Goliath, bringing virtuality into higher education with Sally Davis, Cheryl Moore, Eileen O'Connor again, Al Ritondo, Nicola Marie Alain, and Ragitake Takakura. Well, sounds like I don't know whether it's just avatar names or there's actually mixed nationalities involved in that one. We'll figure it out at the time. And finishing it all off in a more lightweight style. There's going to be a music showcase starting at 6:15 p.m. These are all Pacific times, by the way. Introduced by David Fleisen, otherwise known as Tone Su, otherwise known as a lot of other names, actually. Um, Liberty Bell Lyric, a performer, and James Olmos, another performer, will be taking part in that musical showcase to see the day out or the evening out, depending on where you are, really. Right, on to the Sunday, which of course will be December 9th. Starting off at 7 a.m., virtual machine viewers enable OpenSim access on mobile devices. So, Kay McClellan and others will be talking about virtual machine viewers, which, as far as I know, basically is simply a matter of you load a viewer as a virtual machine on the cloud, and then you stream from that virtual machine to your own machine. So it's a methodology of using viewers rather than actual anything to do anything to do with viewers, if you see what I mean. It's you could be using Firefox Singularity or whatever, but you're using a viewer that already exists, and you're using the virtual machine system to get it onto your mobile device. Right, 8 a.m. Communicate, as in communicate, or ARTE. Miriam El Yamri. I think she may be. Is this the one from Egypt? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, it's about a VR tool to help improve your public speaking skills. Um, which I could probably use, couldn't I? Hey, folks, vote now. Do I need a public speaking tool or don't I need a speaking tool? Press red if I do, press green if I don't. And don't ask me where the buttons are because I haven't got.
I've not seen any buttons.
Okay, maybe we'll cancel that. Just tell me in Discord or something. Do I need help? Oh, God, of course I need bloody help. Right, let's carry on. 8:30, the future of user-created immersive art worlds. This is Art Blue, whose real name is Rainer Schneeberger, and you can kind of understand why he just uses Art Blue, can't you? And his partner in affairs, Juliet Surreal Dreaming, which is actually probably one of my most favourite avatar names of all. Well, surname anyway. Break after that, and then Avatar focused open sim projects with Lisa Langston and Frank Ruloff. I think that is to do with the IMA and everything but name, really. That's at 9:30 a.m. 10:30 a.m. Immersive audiobooks for Avatars, a Hypergrid tour, and our friend from the Hypergrid International Expo, actually, Keops for Life, will be hosting that. Followed by a break, and then at noon, Techland, an evolution of a virtual world with Michelina Ochihoni and Michelle. Techland was actually, I think that's a single speaker. Both of them sound like avatars, but never mind. Right, 12:30 experiences through the hypergrid. Yeah, now this is another rather iffy looking one. This Mal Burns character is hosting this one again. Hey, I don't
That
know what they're up
fellow's
to.
very busy.
He's got two.
Terribly
And
busy.
there are two bloody iffy things with the same person. I don't
Hmm.
know what's going on here at all. Anyway, apparently, Who Be is going to be joined by Handheld, who of course is the organizer of best known as Avatar Fest organizer, amongst other things. He's also Confederation of Democratic Simulators. I think he's a chief guy behind that too, which is something that started in his second life as a sort of a template for using virtual worlds for democratic organisation of societies, blah blah. Also, John Lester, who is better known as Pathfinder Lester, or once upon a time Pathfinder Linden, indeed, is well known for his Hypergrid Explorers stuff, which predated the Hypergrid Safaris, and basically hunting around the hyper-griddy thingy. Later, Marjoram, who will be, I don't think I've ever had them on the show, but um, uh, a lot about Leighton is a kind of authority on different destinations, constantly posting quite a lot. I'd hoped we were going to get Sartori on in this panel, but unfortunately they're travelling for the weekend. But also, since it is actually called Hypergrid, we'll have Krista Lopez on hand to contextualize it in hypergrid terms as well. Right, 1:30, Blenderland, the Italian Blender community virtual world. Dario Galantini, right? This is to do with, well, a Blender virtual world sort of thing. Um, Dario is actually Italian, so I know there is somebody coming with him who will be actually delivering the presentation in English for us. But so there'll sort of be two of them on stage, if you see what I mean. Isabel Valverde, is that another Italian? I'm not sure. At 2 p.m., Mocap Dance Library, a challenge for inclusive strands in dance. That'd be fun. Right, Mary Howard and Andrew Wheelock are at 2:30 p.m. with Hope and Sim Adventures for middle-aged school children. A break flashing forward to 3:30. We have CVL Hypersource Resource Library grand opening. This is with Bethany Winslow and Valerie Hill, who have extended their librarianship activities from originally Second Life. They now have two regions as well on OpenSea, and one is on the Avacon grid, which is the Hypergrid Resource Library, and a secondary one, which is more just technical resources, which is on the Kitely grid. But they'll be telling us all about that, no doubt. 4:30 p.m. grant writing for virtual developers with Rachel Umarin. 5 p.m. Storytelling tools, historical immersion in the modern store region with Dauna or Dorna or something, Kaisa and Galen de Lera. And followed at 5:30 on by a pilot study, immersive financial education for building positive memory habits. And that'll be delivered, as it were, by Cheryl Moore. And at 6 p.m., it's an off-site sort of companion party, a dream pop rave at Pirates at Atoll, which I believe is virtual Belfast on OS Grid. But again, go to the program and read more about it. So the link, if you want it, is oscc18.sched.com. So oscc18.shed.com. And nice colourful agenda for you to look at there. Now, as I said, moving back to the other screen. Coincidentally, the panel on Saturday with Will Burns on it, when we were trying to come up with a name for that, actually was sort of it's evolution of engagement sort of was suggested by Will Burns, not the Mal Burns bloke, but Will Burns. And yesterday he posted on his blog, which is cityofnidus.blogspot.com. So that's cityofnidus.blogspot.com. And his post is called The Future of Engagement. And great read, but a rather long read, and I'm not even going to attempt to kind of synopsize it, but it is there if you want to read it. And if I shall hastily hope Windows might just yes, Windows has learned to give me a picture, which James can probably show you on screen now. This when I say a picture, it's actually simply the blog post itself with various graphics and stuff. And you can also begin to see how long this article is. Where are we? Anywhere near the bottom yet? Yes. Oh, good old dual universe. Oh, that, by the way, is a great video. Very short, mind you. Okay, so you can ignore that, James. I will flip back to my main screen. Right, Firefox Reality VR browser gets support for 7 new languages, bookmarking, and more. Right now, Firefox are up to some wonderful stuff. There is Mozilla VR per se, which is it uses WebGL and stuff like that to actually put 3D worlds into your browser. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to track down anybody from Mozilla who would have been right to come on the Saturday panel, but it work. It certainly works in a similar way to what we will be considering as web worlds with Singer Girl. Um, you can find a post about this at uploadvr.com. Firefox Reality, however, is something very different. Firefox Reality is actually a 3D browser, so you download it into your headset, as it were, and it's an app for actually, going to the web and in VR. And of course, its homepage obviously is doesn't contain your normal thumbnails to, I don't know, Facebook or anything. It's designed to take you to specific sites that will work in a VR headset. Although I believe it can be used to view just about anything. So that's actually a version of Firefox for the 3D world, if you like, the hardware world. Right. Cause I like it. Cause I like it. I do like the artwork of Claude Monet. He is not a contemporary artist. In other words, he's not working in VR, but somebody else is working in VR for him. Basically, this is just a nice new app which comes with music. Okay, this new
Indeed.
VR app celebrates the work of Claude Monet. You can probably hear the music in the background. There we are, the year 1908. So over a century ago there. But it's a brand new VR experience, and it's showing in the Musée d'Orangerie in Paris. So you might have a bit of a way to go there. But I gather, I think this is actually going to be available to you. Um, HTC Vive, by the sound of it there.
Yeah, it says
Whether
Vive
they're
Vive port in the
uh,
video.
Yeah, it's you can get into 5 port $3 entry. Yeah. So principally, this is obviously a go-to experience in the real world and on Vive too. But maybe it will become available elsewhere. Certainly looks nice, but then it would do because it's money. Yes. Okay, and finally, whoops. Windows behave. Right. Hubs by Mozilla. Immersive communication on any device. Now, this, of course, is the other side. When I was talking about Firefox Reality a minute ago, just see if I've got anything to load here before James. Yes, James can probably give you a little picture here. Um, oh, right. I know why I found this. I was looking at Jessica Outlaw stuff. Yeah. Um, Yeah, this is actually a usability study. It's not this week's actually. This is dated 28th of September, so it's not exactly hot off the books, but it's a usability study on Mozilla's hubs. Now, the hubs are actually this sort of web VR thing that Mozilla are doing. The idea is you can sign up for one of these, and anybody with a web browser can visit your little space on the web. Um, but they're also, as you can probably tell from that graphic, they're optimized not only to work with headsets too, but you can even use them on an iPhone or an iPad or something. The whole idea being that this little hub that you can create on the web, although it is a 3D world, will be actually viewable in virtually any device you want to throw it is. And I'm going to take that picture away now because I'd rather. Well, apparently the music's not going to stop
The music's
anyway.
not gonna stop. It's here. It's here
um,
forever.
it could be. I've had the odd thing. Oh, it seems to stop now. I've had the odd thing hijack my browser recently that suddenly starts up with noise when you're in the middle of watching TV late at night or something, and
Oh my.
thinks that it's got an invitation to join in. Anyway, yeah. So I'm going to move into the other tweets. Which is the Twitter account for Metaworld News, actually. Future of engagement. Will Burns is saying yes again. December performances in VR, or more importantly, this is actually in hi-fi. Just a page of performance activities in hi-fi, and this is actually the web version of an email. So you have to go to mailchi.mp, and I think that will get to you. Well, hopefully it will. Anyway, can't swear to that, but there may be a hidden code in that I can't see. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, High Fidelity do have some December performance events and meets and greets and stuff like that. Actually, if you just go to highfidelity.com, I'm sure you can just click on the events bit. Talking of other worlds, blog.sign.space, creator spotlight on Black Opal designs. This is a look at a creator in Sciencebase. And also, I don't have a picture to show you up here. I'm not actually I'm gonna click this link to Hypergrid Business, in fact, so you have got a little picture. We normally have a display one here, but it's not been uploaded today. Basically, Tangle Grid on OpenSim, they have major quarterly expos, which are focused on, exhibitions from people from all over the hypergrid. It's not just residents of Tangle Grid or anything. And yesterday they started the Winter Expo. This post leads to Hypergrid Business, where Maria has basically published a roundup based on Leslie's press release, by the look of it. Wonderful. Well, as one might expect. So yeah, go to hypergridbusiness.com, and you will find that post lurking up there. Right. Right, this is posted at a site called motherboard.vice.com. So that's motherboard as in the thing, all the bits that your computer sit on, and then Vice as in naughty stuff, really. I don't know, no connection really. Motherboard.vice.com. Zepito is the avatar-based social network for teens that's dominating the App Store. Now, if you're serious about your virtual worlds and stuff like that, give this a pass, please. But I think it is important because apparently it is taking off like a house on fire, and you get stuff that comes left of center and does this. It happened famously with Minecraft, which all the virtual world people were saying it's worse than Lego. Yet it is the most phenomenally successful thing of its ilk around, so much that Microsoft bought it. You know. Um, so Zapito could well be like that. It is really just cartoony avatars, but its messaging system. We've had Club Cooey. We used to have Weblins. All sorts of things have tried this out in the past, and some of them, some of them not. Oddly enough, Zapito, the avatar builder from South Korean snow company, it's number one social networking app in the iOS iPad store, for example. It certainly does the networking, and it certainly does avatars. Very cartoony avatars, I've got to admit. Um, I like the review. It says, "This sounds familiar. If you were on the internet in the early to mid 2000s, chances are you used a desktop tool like Second Life. Me's, I envy you, or Tease Me, that's a new one on me, to create a virtual avatar. And more recently, you've made a Bitmoji on your smartphone. Well, Zapito has many of the same features these tools had. I don't think even though Second Life is a bit of a dinosaur now, I don't think this can quite compete even with Second Life. So, but it's fun. It's fun, and sometimes that's all it's about. And I think it's relevant because this pickup is so huge, and it suggests to me that teens are actually willing to do something else other than text. They like their emojis and they like their avatars. So maybe they don't want to hang around in a fully fledged virtual world and experiment with what they can do in spaces, but they're not how should we say hostile to the idea of strapping on an avatar and communicating through it. So we will see what happens with that. Right, Kokura viewer. Right, I think I had this on last week's show. You can check it out at Modem World ME in our page blog. Sunday, November 18th, I guess, started this. The Cocoa viewer goes Animesh with version 6. This is something I think is peculiar to Linden Labs, i.e. Second Life. And I find this a bit alarming, actually, because you would expect Firestorm and a lot of these Second Life fan products to go with Linden Lab, but Kagoo actually had a bit of a reputation as a bit of an open sim viewer, and if it's starting to incorporate Linden Lab specific stuff into the viewer, then it's actually going to make itself a step away from compliance with open sim, I think, but we will see. Actually, that seems to be it. I remember this other post from last week. Magic Leap introduces avatar chat, and it is stupid. Great headline. I remember that from last week.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
So I'm in the background here. I'm just going to nose around in my other little different departments to just see if there's anything. Um, Obviously, apparently yesterday, no, that was Saturday, Friday, was still Black Friday, even though Black Friday was the week before. I don't understand all this, but everywhere I look, there's still Black Friday deals. Oh, they were interrupted for a day with Cyber Monday deals, but then it became Black Friday deals again.
Ah, the opportunity to purchase.
Anything to sell you stuff, yes,
Hmm.
I guess. Um, oh, it's interesting. Max Planck. Why do we get cyber sick? Oh, I don't know. Do tell me. Second finding was that even perceived motion at constant velocity and not only during accelerations resulted in motion sickness. Okay, well, I've just found this for you. I haven't read it myself, so you know, taking a risk here. Max Planck, that's MAXPLANCK dot NAUTIL dot US. And the post called Why Do We Get Cybersick? That's a long link, isn't it? Maybe you just want to pass on it. Can virtual reality make us more emphatic? Well, I would say certainly. You can read about that at a site called The Week. It's not surprisingly a weekly roundup paper here in the UK. At least I think it's the same week. What else have we got? Okay. I'll just go back there. No, it wasn't. There's something about Sketchfab here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Right, okay. Too many posts there to go directly back into. Um, Pokemon! Oh dear, so we're laughing here because we've found a Pokemon avatar in the back channels. Right, I think that's about it. So I'm just going to look on my posts here. Yes, another section which probably has nothing of great interest in it. Um, it's basically monitoring whatever I'm doing on Google Plus, which isn't much other than just liking videos and stuff. No, so that is fine. We can get rid of that now. So, oh, guess what? I quit.
It's back.
I have. I have just okay, folks. We will give you a nice bit of ambience. If James wants to give you the screen back, you'll see a bit of nice moving image from my desktop and some.
Yep. Oh, that's so It could be our
And it
outro.
stopped. And it stopped. Yeah, we
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
ding along a ding dong now.
Yep, yep.
Yes. Okay. It could be our outro. I'm not sure where we're ready to go outroing. Yes.
Hmm.
What I am going to do is stop sharing because I always got two viewers. That's interesting. two, must be two Jameses at work here.
Uh-oh.
Right, okay, stop sharing and stop the screen share. That's all very well good. So, James, what do you think of all that lot?
Uh,
Quite a lot in the end, actually. We've been on there, what, three
oh,
quarters of an hour, I think.
40 minutes so
Yeah,
far. So far, we haven't ended yet.
yeah.
The
Oh, we've got to do a 40-minute ending, shall we? Yeah, why not?
the
Up to you.
yeah, the Zapato story. Interesting to me just because it is an iPhone app as opposed to, I mean, so much of what we cover is PC, Android dominated. And so I just wonder how much that's going to have an impact being an Apple product focus. And did you tell in the article? Could you tell in that article if it was cross-platform?
Um, Good point. I've gone and
It
closed it now,
seemed like it
haven't
was
I?
just
I
an
don't
app
know.
on the App Store. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it might only be iOS. I'm not quite sure. I mean, there
Hmm.
are a number of those kind of things around on the App Store. I was just struck by apparently the fact that downloads are just it's number one
Right.
download. You know,
Right.
you're talking about millions of copies downloaded, and for some reason, the take up appears to be with teens. And back in the day, you mentioned the passport to somebody, and nobody would ever have heard of it
Hmm.
because the only people that used it were students. And then there were the teens, the other teens, as it were, and now of course everybody under the sun uses it, although most probably don't unless they're grannies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's now the granny book. Um, Go figure. But um, teens are notorious, of course, for finding new things because they are
Fearless.
they're fearless and fearless, but they're also exposed and if you're on a big, it's like it's a teen thing, it's a generational thing. You don't um, you know, if you're really interested in the current pop music, you don't go to the BBC pop music radio station or site um, because it doesn't actually, it's part of a great institution. It doesn't serve your needs. And Facebook and Google's and a lot of avenues to teens are just like that. If the parents use them, or worse still, grandparents use them, they don't want to know. They want something unique to themselves. So, as you were tutoring me the other week, the me
Oh,
generation.
right. Right. Yep.
But no, that is actually quite natural. Me generation or not, each generation finds its own language, its own iconography, its own culture and musical and communications channels, basically. Um, you know, um, Next they'll be encrypting them in, team speak or something, so we don't even understand what they're
There.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I was being driven to school one day, and my father, in front of my friend, said, "I saw your girlfriend on TV last night." I said, "What the frick is he talking about?" I don't know. I was what early teens, I guess, at the time, and then it turned out he was talking about Mick Jagger, who'd been on some serious talk program late at night when I was long
He
asleep.
had an
And
ulterior motive for that
his comment.
comment.
Well, yes, exactly. But also, apparently, he had an interview with the Rolling Stones and Jagger, and he couldn't, any, anybody who actually listened could hear what he was singing, but not my old man. But he heard him talking on a serious interview program, and he was, I don't know what, I think he says something like, he actually seems like he may be rather intelligent. And, I don't know what to make of it. The fact that he was so condescending about it was equally offensive.
Hmm.
But but maybe that was the thing. The music of that era. The vocalists didn't shout it or anything, and they used suggestive, suggestive lyrics, and they melted the vocals into the wall of sound. And so for another generation who are used to hearing lyrics up front, they understandably couldn't hear it, and that was more than all right with us because we didn't want the older generation to hear it anyway. It's our thing. So there must be some virtual or at least online equivalent of that for teens these days.
Mm.
So um, yeah, and if it's that successful, I imagine it's on Google Android at least. The phone thing as well.
Mm. Hmm.
It probably wouldn't have any great use on the desktop if it's designed for teens. I don't think teens know what a desktop is. Uh, they might have heard of a laptop, but desktop, doubt if it's on the radar anymore. Sorry. Anything else, James? Before
Nope.
I
Nope.
ramble off in multiple
That was my one
directions.
observation. Yep.
That's the one of observation. Okay. Well, not much else to say. As I said, it will be a fortnight before you see us again, and then I suspect that show will be the last until after the obligatory holiday
All
season
right.
that they have in the Western world. We'll figure that out when we get to it. I can't do the mathematics on dates right now. But next week, of course, we will be at the Open Sim Community Convention. So, as I said, OSCC 18 numbers dot shed, that's SCHED dot com. Yeah. And you can find the agenda for next weekend there. And hope you can make it. You can jump in via the hypergrid from anywhere, whether you're registered or not. There are different landing zones depending on whether you come from the hypergrid or whether you come from a local account or whether indeed you're a VIP, which is gives you a few privileged access things. But importantly, the main thing is actually open up to everybody. And as well as all those presentations I mentioned, there's a whole hypergrid expo area. I gather somebody's doing a hypergrid safari type thing. There are also plenty of other stands. Most of the speakers have stands of their own, and many of them will be organizing auxiliary events, so after their talk, they'll maybe tell you to come and meet them on their stand at lunchtime, or maybe even give you a teleport to somewhere else to find further information about what they talked about. So it's all nice and open. So there's going to be plenty there to do other than just watch presentations. So a lot of fun will be had by all, as they say.
Indeed.
It's a highlight of the year and a fitting end to the year, shall we say. And you'll get more than enough of me as well. But sheer coincidence, of course. Plug. Right. Okay, well, that's it for this week and indeed the next 2 weeks. So it's goodbye from him here.
And goodbye from him there.
And twixt the two of us, a farewell for 2 weeks. No, yes, sorry. Oh, good. Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.